Bro, betrayal is like this interesting thing where I think in the past, like if I got betrayed, I mean, it hurt so fucking bad. And I think now it doesn't hurt. It's just like no way you did that, right? And I'm gonna use a lot of analogies because then now I'm not gonna like give the example of what actually happened in my life. But I think an analogy would be like imagine you have like a really abusive ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, right? Just super abusive, and your friends know about it. Your friends know about it. They know how horrible that this person treated you, and they know all these things. And then a year later, after the breakup, your friend starts dating them. And it's like, oh, I'm just doing what's best for me, like, and they're rose-colored glasses about it. And it's like, and they like hid it from you until like they announced it officially, and you're like what? You're like, what? Like, you know what? Like, yeah, first, like, okay, yeah, you're gonna get pampered at first. It's gonna be nice, and then the true color is gonna come out. And I think that the real issue is that this person that did this to me has some sort of history of like cheating, and that's why I'm not really necessarily friends with this person, but kind of friends with them, you know, where because I don't, I mean, I don't like that shit, right? And it's just morally bankrupt, and I find that, I mean, there's a reason that there's some businessmen that say that they won't get into business with cheaters, right? Because it shows your temperament, it shows your true color. And the thing about cheating is that it's very similar to addiction, where once you begin doing it, like especially like let's say like a relapse, right? When that happens, you are covering up your trail all the time. Especially like if you relapse an addiction, you don't want other people to find out, right? And you don't want your significant other to find out. Like I mean, obviously with cheating, you don't want anyone to find out ever, right? But it's like you're covering up your trail so much, you're lying and you're lying, and slowly but surely, you're no longer able to be vulnerable with people because you're living this dual life. You're living an alternate. Like you have two lives going on at once. You have a life in the dark and a life in the light, right? And because of this incongruency, you're beginning to eh, like be not vulnerable, be always have a wall up, always be distant from everyone and anything because you're having this contained thing going on. But the issue with people that do this, and also my issue with addiction was like you really feel like it's self-contained. You're like, oh no, you know, this is something, this type of my lying, my stuff is just related to the affair. Oh, it's just related to the addiction. But what you don't realize is that that just becomes your temperament. You become very selfish. You move with a lot of self interest. Everything you're doing is of self interest. And because of that, that temperament and the way you are within that self contained thing begins to spread to all aspects of your life, begins to spread to your job, to your finances, to your personal life, to your hobbies, and everything you're doing is from the base temperament of being a cheater, of being someone that's in secret. And once again, that's why people in business like I will not partner with someone that's a cheater because they're inherently an untrustworthy person and they're a person that holds a lot of secrets. They're someone that's not going to be honest and upfront. And the other thing that's very similar to addiction is that let's say you do like tell your friends that this is something that's happening. You know, you tell your friends that you relapse. You tell your friends that, you know, and they're upset with you. You tell your friends you're having an affair, and they're upset with you because it's morally bankrupt. And it's also like, well, first of all, it's a different with addiction because it's like, holy fucking shit, like you're back doing this again. Like in this snowballs into something horrific, right? And same thing with cheating, but the addiction thing is really like incredibly self-destructive. But I'm saying, like, what ends up happening is as people begin to call you out and to call out your bullshit, you're in such a temperament of self-interest that the cognitive dissonance that you're feeling between like, oh, this is actually not a good thing, but I'm gonna still do it. I still want to do it because these people are telling you, you know that they're telling the truth. But to deal with that cognitive dissonance, you begin to just cut them off and be like, they're wrong. They don't understand me. They don't understand me. And slowly but surely, through addiction, through this affair, you're burning all of your bridges. You're burning every bridge that you have because the people that care about you the most are the people that are going to be calling you out on your bullshit. And the person that's an addict and that's a person that's a cheater, whatever it is, the first people you cut off are the people that care the most about you, right? That know the most about you, right? That's why, like, you know, for these people, it's very easy to go talk to the, you know, as an addict, to go find a fellow addict. Like if you're, you know, Oh, what's that street called? Like, you're in Kensington, right? And you're a fent addict. I mean, it's very much easier to go talk to other fent addicts because you guys don't know much about each other, and you guys aren't going to hold each other to like a standard of how you were before when you were sober. This is all you know of each other. And so you get into these especially like addict relationships. You get into these codependencies because this is all you know about each other, and you can justify it with one another. And the justifying is mirroring off one each other. But besides, and that different, differentiating that from someone that's known you your whole life and is like, dude, this is not you. Like, what are you doing? And so slowly but surely, you cut all the people off. You cut all the people that care about you off, and then you just keep making these decisions, right? And a lot of your decisions are decisions of survival and also fear. You're living in a state of fear that like you're gonna be caught, fear that that you're gonna have to get sober. Like, these fears are running your life, and when you drive the car with fear, you always crash the motherfucker, bro. Right? Like, that's what happens. If all I think about on a cliff is how scared I am to drive off the cliff, I'm probably going to drive off the cliff because all I'm focusing is driving off the cliff, right? Like, that's because I'm fearful. And I think that that's what happens in these situations is like, there's so many times in my life, and I've talked about this before, where things would be going well. And because they were going well, and my normal like life was like this, troughs and valleys, where I would immediately think like, oh, something bad's about to happen, so let me prepare. And before anything bad even happened, I would go back into addiction, and I would hunker up, I would bunker up, I would shelter up spiritually and mentally. I would put myself in a little cage, in a little corner, in a little room, right? And shelter myself, and I would put the umbrella up for the rain. But the thing is, the rain did come, but the rain only came because I put the umbrella up. That's the only reason that happened, right? And so in the same way, when you're driving with fear, the thing you fear is going to always happen, right? And in these situations, it's because I always, it's always like you should give all your worries and your fears to your higher power, whether that's the ocean, God, whatever it is. Because what happens is you begin to idolize the fear, you idolize your worry, and as that's the only thing you think about, it consumes you, right? And so as I kick, if God's driving the car and I kick God out and I hop in the car because I need to get back in control, I'm going to always drive myself into a wall. And that's what would happen to me over and over again. I would get back in the driver's seat, get back into addiction, and drive into a wall, and the walls would get harder and the car would get more durable or less durable. And I would just be doof, 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 doof. And what am I looking at? Wait, hold on. And sorry, I was just looking at something like that. And so yes, and so I would tell you guys, like, whenever you're in a situation, ask who's driving the car. When you're about to make a decision, ask who's driving the car. And the reason this relates to what I said in the very beginning of the video about that analogy about cheating is like, this person in my life, I mean, they drove the car in fear, and it led them to a situation that essentially feels like betrayal to me. But rather in the past, rather than feeling awful about it, I'm just kind of, hey, that's a decision you made, and I can't help you. Like, you already made your bed. Now go lay in it, right? And I don't know where my dog is, right? Oh, I gotta water that plant too. Sorry, I'm fucking getting sidetracked. But you get my point. Is like, anytime you're about to make a decision, just think about who is driving right now. Is my fear driving? Is my anxiety driving? And those things aren't the same. Is my greed driving? Is my lust driving? Right? Especially if you're driving with a lot, if you're worrying a lot and you're worrying about the future a lot, you have to let that go. A lot of times in the future, like when I was talking to you guys about yesterday about the girl in med school, and I told her, like, I'll see you next year. Like, and you're gonna have good fruits for me. And she was like, how am I gonna see you next year? When would I see you next year? And she's thinking about the details of like, how would I see her? Why would I see her? What are the logistics of the situation? You got to leave that all up to your higher power. You just need to walk forward, right? And just keep moving. You don't need to think about the how and the why. Just do your thing and execute your idea, whatever it is. You don't need to think about how you're gonna get to this level of success. How are you gonna get to this city that you want to move to? How are you gonna finally have a partner? The how and the why, you don't need to do that. You need to be the person that already has those things and acts as if you have those things, and it will come, right? And so that's why when you drive with fear and you kick God out the driver's seat and the flesh drives, you're always fucking up. You're always driving towards one of these 7 deadly sins in a way, right? And yeah, I mean that's really what I'm talking about is like be careful, be careful, and like oh it's busting. But anyways, that's all I want to say today. But guys, girls, gays, queer, they, them, zero. Anyhow, anyone have a blessed rest of your. Oh, it's only 5:40. Have a blessed rest of your Wednesday. I'll catch you guys on a beautiful Thursday.